I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail.
Hä?
Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Das wird nicht funktionieren.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenel, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder,
Hilfe.
and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him.
Das ist doch
He
Kacke.
was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched. Last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenel contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. Surely you're joking. These people are killers. My only hope is that yours provides a single, concrete suspect before they indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The
Das ist
Debardeur have over
Kacke.
2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Seraï's giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
Eklig.
As I said, a bloodbath. It doesn't have to be like this. Nameless, badgeless officer of the citizens' militia. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it.
Und wer war
The
das?
remaining contractors. Their tribunal. It's what they believe.
Und was haben die Jugendlichen am Kanal erzählt?
That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk. Maybe on narcotics, too.
Fuck.
Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him.
Ich weiß es doch schon.
That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor. About a rumor. In any case, it's what the Colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
Dieser Colonel, der gehängt wurde, kannten Sie ihn?
If you mean did I see him alive? Yes. But I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one.
Dieser Laylee, wissen Sie sonst noch etwas über ihn?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own.
Okay.
In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once.
Was können Sie mir über Krenel erzählen?
Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients. Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Unschön.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil.
Wissen Sie noch mehr über die Firma?
Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations. Their database is the single largest source of information in the world.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenel.
Können Sie das Unternehmen kontaktieren? Sagen Sie, dass es die Söldner abziehen soll.
I have. And they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Wo sind die zwei Söldner jetzt?
They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. Besides,
Wie viel
you're
Zeit haben
until the
wir?
executions start. Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks.
Gut, das
I
reicht
am
jetzt
sorry
erstmal.
to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with,
Ja,
please ask.
Realität.
More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
Nö. In welcher Zeit... Moment, warte mal. Zeit leben wir?
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Zu spät wofür?
For the big time.
Was sind die großen
The
Sachen?
revolution.
Und was ist die Revolution, von der ich immer höre?
It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
Und mit Liberale meinen
Liberals
Sie?
are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the Ultras, or Ultra-Liberals. They fared well.
Wie haben Sie es geschafft,
They
alles
didn't
zu
win
gewinnen?
so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
Und wem konnte man sich noch
To foreign
ergeben?
intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
Und wer ist
The
das?
coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-le-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do. The
Moralisten.
moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights and not shooting people in the head.
Das ist schon sehr politikphilosophisch. Das ist schon ein krasses Spiel, ganz ehrlich.
At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government.
Sind wir hier in sowas wie Ost-Berlin?
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean.
Wem wurde in den Kopf geschossen?
Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
Sehr
She
unschön.
likes the totality of it.
Haben die Kommunisten und Anarchisten
Did
zurückgeschossen?
they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Wirklich ein Riesentheater.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it.
Wurde sonst noch jemand in den Kopf geschossen? Auf der gegnerischen Seite?
Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Kluger König.
Yes. King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frisell got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
Und wann?
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Und wer hat sie angezettelt?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government.
Und wohin hat sie sich denn ausgebreitet?
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was
Kauterisierung.
overthrown in '08, and the Coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end.
Dann?
Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Was ist mit dem Rest der Welt passiert?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-estellary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
Klingt sehr nach der
51
DDR.
minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies.
Was haben wir die ganze Zeit gemacht?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell.
Und danach?
The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
Und hat das funktioniert?
No.
Natürlich
It was
nicht.
a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
Wow.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
Kann ich jetzt mal gucken? Warte mal. Aha, das ist ja. Ja. Nein. Wie spät haben wir es denn jetzt? Habe ich noch. Gut, okay. Wir sind hier fertig.
They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Ja.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything?
Gut. Wir müssen... So, jetzt ist die Frage. Wir kommen ja jetzt hier rein. Und wir haben nach 21 Uhr...
This door is made of metal and appears to be no one answers.
We should return tomorrow. Tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Ach, morgen. Ja, ich habe es auch eigentlich so im Kopf gehabt, aber egal. So, dann komm. Na, hier hin. Ist trotzdem eine gute Abkürzung. Soll ich das für der gleiche? Dann komme ich da jetzt rein. Ich habe eine Idee. Ist ja egal, wir kommen ja so hier rein. Was ist das?
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting.
Ne, wir brauchen... Aber ich gucke es mir mal nochmal an. Ist da noch irgendwas Neues? Da ist was Neues.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's